Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful mesh stitch sequin top. It's made of the mesh pattern. It has thick straps and then we have sequins attached to it as well, and these ones reflect light. As you can see, you can attach more sequins if you wish. You can either leave them as spaced as this or even go ahead to add more sequins in order to have a different effect. So for the materials, I used this yarn. It's called Lana Mania, and you can reach out to them. They have an Instagram page, Facebook, and TikTok, and you can get this same exact yarn. The hook that I am using is a 2mm crochet hook, and this yarn is 340 meters. I just needed less than one ball. You can see this. This is what was left from making this whole top. I still have this left. So you just need one ball and then a 2mm crochet hook, measuring tape, and then you also need a pair of scissors and a lighter. This lighter is going to help us get rid of the loose ends, because the loose ends can't tie tightly, so you need to melt them a little bit. And then you also need some sequins. I have these here. These are the ones that you're going to attach onto the top. So if you would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops. And let's get started. Alright guys, we're going to start from the top of our bra cup. I'll call these bra cups, and you're going to start off with a slip knot. And you're going to make a chain of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So after a chain of 6, you're going to go into the very first chain with a double crochet. So this pattern is explained in the US terms. Okay. So place a double crochet there, and then make a chain of 1, double crochet into the same exact chain again, and then make a chain of 1 and double crochet into the same chain. So literally we have a total of 4 double crochets into the very first chain, separated by chain 1 spaces. So let's go on to row 2. Row 2, you're going to start off with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work into the very first chain 1 space. You're going to place a double crochet. So you yarn over, insert your hook into the first space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So into the next space. So you can see for row 1 we have a total of 1, 2, and 3 spaces. So into the middle space, which is the next space where I'm supposed to place the double crochet, you're going to make a chain of 1, and into that middle space of row 1 you're going to make a double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So we have literally created a V-stitch into that space, which is supposed to be the middle increase of the bra cup, as you'll see later on. So you're going to make a chain of 1, and into the last space always gets 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. Sorry, this yarn is a little bit hard to work with, but we shall make it work. So this is what we have. At the end of row 2, you should have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 spaces. So we have increased at the beginning of the row, in the middle of the row, and at the end of the row. That's what we are going to keep doing. So let's go on to row 3. You're going to make a chain of 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's how every row starts, with a chain of 4, and then you turn your work. At the beginning of every row, you go into the very first chain 1 space with 1 double crochet. So that is literally increasing at the beginning of the row. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and double crochet into the next chain 1 space. And into the V-stitch, a V-stitch for this pattern is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet into the same space. So we have a V-stitch here. So you're going to make a chain of 1, and into the V-stitch, you're going to place another V-stitch. So into that space, the chain 1 space of the V-stitch below, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So we have literally increased in the middle of the row by placing a V-stitch into the V-stitch from the previous row. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1. This is just a normal chain 1 space, and it will get 1 double crochet, and then make a chain of 1. And as I had mentioned for the previous row, every end of row, which is this one, gets 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So at the end of row 3, you should have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 spaces. One thing that you have to note is each row increases by 2 spaces. So at any one point of the breakup, you should always have an odd number of spaces. So if you had 3 for row 1, you have 5 for row 2, 7 for row 3. That means the next row, automatically we have to have 9 spaces. So let's go ahead and see how to do that. You're going to make a chain of 4. Each row starts with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then go into the very first chain 1 space with a double crochet, and then chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat this until you get to the V-stitch in the middle of the row. So continue to chain 1, 1 double crochet. So we have reached the V-stitch of the previous row in the middle of the row. So you're going to make a chain of 1, and into the V-stitch, you'll place a V-stitch. The V-stitch in the middle of the row always gets a V-stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. And then make a chain of 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, and then we've come to the end of the row, and you'll make a chain of 1. Into the last space, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. So let's see, just to cross check, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 spaces, chain 1 spaces. So you have to keep track of your pattern just like that, and look how the pattern is spreading out so beautifully. You're going to repeat this row again and again until the base of your triangle, because this pattern creates a triangular shape, until the base of your triangle is approximately quarter, until the base of your triangle is approximately quarter of your bust circumference without stretching. We are not going to consider a stretched look for this pattern because I still want that drape. As you can see here, I've already worked my very first breakup, and you can see how light it is. I don't want it to be fitted like this. I just want it to be as flowy as possible. So I'm going to just keep working, and I'll also recommend a number of rows once I get my breakup ready. So just keep working that row, and I'll meet you back when mine is ready. Alright guys, I continued to repeat my row until the base of my piece or the triangle measures quarter of my bust circumference that I am considering for this design. So I'll be recommending a number of rows on the screen, but make sure the base of your triangle is quarter of your bust circumference without stretching. And you're going to go ahead and make a second piece identical to what we have here. So you can see we have the V-stitch around here, and you can see the line in which we were increasing or creating the V-stitches. in the middle of the triangle. So this is what your work will look like. Now, on the second piece, when you finish your first piece, you will make a chain of 1, or just leave it as it is and just leave a long tail behind and cut your yarn. Now on your second piece, you're not going to do that. It's still attached to the yarn ball. So we're now going to get this one where we cut our yarn and attach it into the third chain of the first chain 4 of the last row of the previous, of the second brack up. So just slip stitch there and then make a chain of 1 and pull through. Make sure the loose ends you leave behind are quite long, because I'm not yet sure of how secure this yarn is in just a knot. So I would rather just have this and maybe use a darning needle to weave it in and out of a few stitches later on. Alright guys, after joining the 2 brack ups, now we are going to consider this measurement well stretched. Before we weren't stretching, but now you're going to take a measurement at the base of this piece when you're stretching. And it can stretch to about 11 inches. That means 11 times 2, because we have 2 brack ups. That will be 22. And you're going to find the difference between the 2 measurements, your bust measurement and the measurement that you've got at the base here when stretched. So 22 minus 32, that means my chain at the back is going to be a total of 10 inches. So I'm going to make my chain here. You're going to get this yarn that's still attached to the yarn ball, and you're going to make your chain of 10 inches, or the difference between your bust measurement and the measurement at the base of your piece when stretched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13. All right, so I've ended up with a chain of 50, and that gives me my like 10 inches, the difference between my bust circumference and the measurement that I got at the base of my top. And you should make sure you have an odd number of chains, so I'll add 1 more chain, so 51. And now I'm going to turn my work to this side and slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 4 of this second brack up. So now we've joined in the round, as you can see here. Now we're going to start working the mesh pattern in the round. So you're going to slip stitch into this chain 1 space and make a chain of 4 and turn your work. We are first going to work along the chain. All right, so you're going to skip over this stitch here, skip over 1 chain and go into the next chain with a double crochet, and then make a chain of 1, skip the next chain and double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip 1 chain, double crochet into the next. So just like that, we are creating the mesh pattern all the way across the chain, and I'll meet you back towards the second brack up. All right, so I'm placing a double crochet in this chain, and then I have one chain left. I'll just make a chain of one, skip over that chain and the next stitch and go into the next with one double crochet, the next chain one space. So this is what your work will look like. Make sure it's not twisted. So this is what we have for now. So you're going to go all the way around, chaining one and placing one double crochet into the next chain one space, chain one, double crochet into the next chain one space, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. This time we are not increasing into the V stitches. So once you get to the V stitch, you will just place one double crochet and chain one and go into the next chain one space with a double crochet. So as you can see here, I've only placed one double crochet into the V stitch and then chained one, and I've gone into the next chain one space with one double crochet. So from now on, we are no longer increasing. We're just going into the spaces with only one double crochet and then making a chain of one and double crocheting into the next chain one space. So the pattern gets easier and easier and faster. You can literally work this while watching a movie or catching up on your favorite series without overthinking the stitch. So keep working this until the beginning of the round, and I'll meet you back there. So first, hold on, let me first get to the midsection and I show you how to cross over to the next bracket. So as you can see here, make sure your work is not twisted because it's very easy to twist your work on this round. So you're going to make a chain of one and double crochet into the last chain one space of this bracket, and then make a chain of one and double crochet into the first chain one space of the next bracket. That's what we have. And then you're going to make a chain of one, double crochet into the next chain one space, and you're just going to crochet along the second bracket until the end of the round, because now we are working in rounds. Remember, we are no longer working in rows. So this is what we have. Alright guys, we've come to the end of the round, and you can see I have just placed a double crochet into the very last chain one space, and then you're going to make a chain of one and slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 4 of the round. Just slip stitch there. So that means the first round has been made. Now from now on, you're going to repeat this round that I'm going to show you. So slip stitch into the next chain one space, make a chain of 4, and turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. So you just go into the next chain one space with a double crochet. Sorry, this one. And then you make a chain of one, double crochet into the next chain one space. So you're going to repeat that all the way across until you make it to the end here, and then you'll make a chain of one and slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 4, and then repeat the same exact round again and again until you have your top length, your desired top length. So let me just go ahead and work a few more rounds, and I'll be back to show you what I'll be having. Alright guys, I kept repeating round 2 until I had a total of 7 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. but you can do as many rounds as you wish. For me, I've done a total of 7 rounds after joining in the round. So this is the back side of my top. I have a total of 7 rounds, and when we turn it to the front side, this is exactly what we have. So before I go ahead to attach my sequins, I'm still using the same exact ball of yarn, by the way. So before I go ahead to attach these little sequins onto the top, I'm going to create some sort of ruffle-like look or some increases at the base of the top. This is totally optional. You can leave your top like this, or you can go ahead and do the same exact steps that I'm going to explain. So for me, for the next 3 rounds, I'm going to be creating some increases so that I can have some sort of weight at the base of my top. 3 to 4 rounds, or 5 rounds even, if you wish. So you're going to slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, and then make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1. Now you should be working on the right side of your work. Make sure you're on the right side because you're not going to turn anymore. So after this, you're going to go into the same exact space with a double crochet, and then chain 1. Into the next chain 1 space, you're going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet, chain 1, and then into the next space, 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. So we are literally placing V stitches in each and every chain 1 space, and the V stitches are also separated by chain 1 spaces. So chain 1, V stitch into the next chain 1 space, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, V stitch into the next chain 1 space. So you're going to repeat that all the way across. Until you come to the end of the round, and I'll show you what to do next for the next round. Alright, so we've come to the end of the round. I still have 1 chain space left, so I'll make a chain of 1, and into that last chain space I'll place a V stitch, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and slip stitch on top of the first chain 3. Leave a chain behind. Remember, we started with a chain of 4, so into the 3rd chain you will make a slip stitch just like that. So we are going to repeat this round again and again until you have your desired length of the ruffle-like look. So you slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, just like we did for the previous round. Then make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, and then into the same exact space you're going to place a double crochet. That will count as a V stitch into the very first chain 1 space. Then you're going to make a chain of 1. Into the next chain 1 space you're going to place a V stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet, chain 1, V stitch into the next chain 1 space. So this time we're going into the V stitch and into the chain 1 spaces of the previous row. And every chain 1 space, doesn't matter whether it was a V stitch or just a plain chain 1 space, every chain 1 space is getting a V stitch, and then you make a chain of 1, and then V stitch into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, V stitch into the next chain 1 space. So as you can see here, the V stitch, which is this one, gets a V stitch, but also the chain 1 space in between the 2 V stitches has gotten a V stitch, as you can see here. So that's the only way that you're going to achieve that kind of ruffle-like look at the base of your top. So you're going to keep doing this all the way around, and that's the round that you're going to keep repeating again and again until you get the length of the ruffle that you want for your top. So let me just keep working this round, and I'll be back when I have the look that I want at the base of my top. Alright guys, so we've come to the end of the second round of ruffles, and I'm placing my last V stitches of the round. Your rounds are going to get longer and longer, and they'll take a longer time to get done. So this is my last V stitch of the round, and I'm going to make a chain of 1 and slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 4 of the round. So your work should be starting to fold over like this. You can see the base of the top. So I'm going to just keep repeating that round again and again, and I'll let you know how many rounds that I ended up doing. Alright guys, so we've come to the end of this round, and I'm going to make a chain of 1 and slip stitch on top of the first chain 4. Sorry, on top of the third chain of the first chain 4 of the round. You're going to just slip stitch there, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. So I'm cutting my yarn but leaving behind a long tail to weave in later on. And for me, I decided to do a total of 3 rounds of the ruffle pattern, and let's see what that looks like. I think I've gotten the density that I want. I don't want a very long fringe pattern, ruffle pattern at the base of my top, and this is exactly what I have. This is the right side. The side that has the last row of the ruffles will be the right side of my top, so you can see what everything looks like. Now we're going to reattach our yarn on top of the cups, and we're going to create some straps that are going to go behind the neck. So you're going to start off with a slip knot, and you're going to attach into the topmost. So you're seeing between the 2 V stitches, somewhere around here, let me show you, somewhere in the middle of those stitches of row 1 of the bra cups, you're going to attach your yarn. Just like that, and then you're going to make a chain of 3 and double crochet into the same exact space. So I'm going to make this procedure of my popular straps. You make a chain of 3 and double crochet in the space between the 2 stitches below. So you yarn over and insert a double crochet in the space between the 2 stitches below. So you're going to see your strap elongating. You make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, and double crochet in the space between the 2 stitches from the previous row. So you can see how the strap is building. You're going to repeat that until you have your desired strap. I believe I'm going to do around 25 to 30 segments of this strap. I don't want it very short, and neither do I want it so long. So I'm just going to find a middle ground, and I'll let you know how many segments that I'll do for my strap eventually. But you're going to just repeat this, and you can see how the strap is growing. Alright guys, I ended up with a total of 30 segments for my strap. I'm going to go back on it because I want this to be a little bit thicker. Actually, I think this is fine, basing on the thickness of the top. I wanted to go back on it. So if you want a thicker strap, just make a chain of 3 and single crochet into the space between the very first segment, and then chain 3, single crochet into the space of the next segment, just like that. Let me just go ahead and do that. Either way, whether you want your strap thinner or thicker, you can use any of these approaches. So for me, let me just go ahead and make my strap thicker. So you just make a chain of 3 and single crochet in the space between the next segment. This is actually better. This is how I usually make my straps. For those people who have followed me for a while now, you know exactly how we do this. But for those people who have just joined or subscribed to the channel, or this is your very first video to watch, just let me know down in the comment section how you find these straps. Is it an approach that you're going to try out, or yeah, just let me know what you think about the straps if this is your first time to follow this approach for straps. So you're going to repeat that until you get back to the body of the top. Chain 3, single crochet into the next segment. All right, so we've come back to the base or the body of the top. And after your last single crochet into the very first segment here, you're going to make a chain of 3 and slip stitch into the space where you attached your yarn to start the strap. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving behind a tail for weaving in. So you can see how our strap is really attached, and it's quite thick, which I really like. And we're going to repeat the same exact process for the opposite side as well. Create this beautiful strap onto the second brack up. So repeat the same exact process, starting off with a slip knot and leaving behind a tail. To weave in, you're going to attach your yarn into the middle of row 1. Okay, and then make a chain of 3 and double crochet into the same exact space, and continue to follow the same exact instructions. Just rewind your video and follow the same instructions as the very first strap, and then I'll be back to show you what to do next. Alright guys, when you're done with both your straps, you're going to have your work looking like this. These are the straps that are going to tie behind the neck, just like this. You just make a double knot. We haven't yet gotten rid of the loose ends, but we shall do that later on. So you're going to untie that strap, and we're now going to introduce our sequins. I have these golden sequins that I want to put on the top, and I'm going to randomly place them on my top, especially at the front. It's going to be just a random placement so that they can reflect the gold and actually emphasize the golden aspect of this top, as you can see here. Look at that, guys. Oh my god. So these sequins have a very tiny hole. So what I'm going to do is thread the needle, the darning needle that I am going to use to attach those sequins. Luckily, I have this tiny yellow thread. It may not even show that it's different from the yarn that we used here, but get a yarn that is very close to the yarn that you used. I would have gone for white, but I feel like yellow is more deserving. If I had made a custom order in this black shade, maybe I would have used a black color, and then the sequins would be silver instead of the gold. So if you want to place your custom orders, you can reach out to me and I make for you some beautiful creations. So after threading your darning needle, you're going to make sure that that darning needle can actually pass through the tiny hole of the sequin. As you can see here, this can actually pass through. So you're going to get the sequins that you're going to use and you're going to just push them through, just like this, through that tiny hole of the sequin. As you can see here, that's what I'm going to do. Just collect all the sequins that you're going to use and push them through this tiny hole. So for me, I've put about, let me see, these are like 9 sequins, but I'm sure I can always add when I want to. So you're going to push this yarn through like this until you're almost at the end. So once you have that, you're going to start separating them one by one. You get this one and then get your pair of scissors and cut so that the yarn is both sides. And we're going to start attaching them onto the top. So you're also going to have your crochet hook around so that you can locate where you want to attach and then pull through one strand on the back side of the top, just like that, and then skip a stitch and pull through the second strand to the back of the top. So this may take a while, but I just wanted to demonstrate this on camera. So once you have that, then you can go ahead and tie a double knot or a triple knot at the back of your top. Just to be on a safe side, I'll do a triple knot, just like that. And then you're going to cut off the excess yarn of that yellow color. So the reason why I opted for this color is because for this kind of yarn is because it is, I believe, polyester, and when you create a knot, it's secure enough. So we are going to repeat that again and again. Remember, you get the end of the thread and then separate one sequin from the group of sequins that you just put, and then cut yarn, remove these ones, and then you're dealing with only this, and then locate the second place where you want to attach your sequin, pull the strings to the opposite sides, make sure you skip a stitch, and pull the strings to the back side, and then you go ahead and create a triple knot at the back of the top, or on the wrong side of the top. So just like that, we are done, and then you're going to cut your yarn, cut off the excess yarn or the excess thread. So if you don't want them to be sticking out like this, you're going to make sure that your knot is not very tight so that they can hang. But for me, I think this is very neat. I'm going to go ahead and continue to attach several sequins onto this top, and I'll show you what that will look like in the end. So as I had mentioned, I'm doing a random placement of sequins. I'm not following any formula. I'm just placing wherever I feel like placing one. Okay, so let's see what we have for now. This is exactly what we have. And I think it's beautiful. You're going to go ahead and keep placing sequins. And I'll meet you back when I am through with placing several sequins onto my top. Alright guys, I've gone ahead to attach some more sequins onto the top, and this is what it looks like. Very beautiful, guys. I don't know if I'm still adding some more sequins, but I believe so, because I think this is creating a very playful look and a very beautiful effect. So you're going to decide whether you're going to just attach onto the front or also at the back or on the fringe. That's totally up to you. I'm going to attach some more fringes. You'll be seeing my final look on the thumbnail, but this is basically what we are working with for now. I wanted to wind up this video and then get off camera and I finish up everything. So the fact that our yarn is slippery, I am introducing my lighter. This lighter is going to help us burn those ends that may unravel. So we have loose ends here. And the fact that I used a mesh stitch, it may not be possible for me to just make a double knot or a triple knot and I feel like that knot is secure enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the knot and then go ahead to burn it so that I can feel like the knot is quite secure. So after all the knotting, I'm going to get my lighter and I burn those ends and then kind of stick them onto the stitches that are already there. So that's what we have. So that way I can be very sure that that knot is not going to unravel. I'm going to do that for all the loose ends that I have on my top. And let us see the finished look of this top. Let me just go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to show you the finished look. If you have only one end, you're going to grab your your crochet hook, and then try to pass it through and create maybe a total of around 2 chains. That's 1 and then 2 on the wrong side of your work, just like that. And then you fasten it off and cut your yarn away from the knot, and then introduce your lighter. You can burn that end and then stick it onto the stitches that are already there. That's what you're going to do for the different loose ends. So I'm going to go ahead and work on all the loose ends on this top, and also decide whether I want to continue to attach some sequins onto the top, and then I'll show you the final look of the top.